Hello, welcome to Trailblazing Retirement. I'm Katrina, and today I'm excited to share with you three of my favorite books that helped me and my husband to make a bold decision to retire early. And I can't wait to share those three books with you today and hopefully inspire you to explore the path to early retirement. The first book I'm excited to share with you is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This is an amazing book, and I recommend it to all my friends to read. I think it can help you in all facets of your life, but especially on your path to thinking about possibly early retirement. So in Housel's book, he has a core message of doing well with money has little to do with how smart you are, but a lot to do with how you behave. And your mindset and your psychology of how you think about money and the stories you tell yourself about money really affect your behavior. So through reading this, we realized that early retirement wasn't about being investment geniuses or making the best decisions when it comes to money management or maximizing our retirement account before we felt safe enough to retire. But it's more about having consistent behaviors associated with our values and aligned to those. So a few of the key messages that we really took away from his work was, number one, enough is enough. And so really understanding that human nature is really to aspire to always have more. It's kind of in our instinct to always strive to do more. And we can get caught in a trap of working one more year, 2 more years, 10 more years to make sure that we have a huge nest egg and we can always attain more. But what we trade for that is our time. And then what this book really helped us to see is how valuable our time is, and knowing that we have enough, and our plan for retirement really puts us in a comfortable position. Could we make more money and be more secure and have more money to spend in our retirement? Absolutely, we could do that. But this book helps us to see that our values are not in spending money on luxury. It's more about spending money to help buy our time and making memories together and spending time with our family and doing the things that we love to do. So that was the first message that we really took away from The Psychology of Money. The second lesson that we learned is the concept of reasonable over rational. And what that means is sometimes you want to lean towards the rational decision rather than, hey, is it reasonable? Can we make this happen? So for example, it's rational to think we need to work as long as we can to have the most money as possible, to be as secure as possible in our retirement, have that forecast of 98%, likelihood of being successful in our retirement. That's rational for sure. But is it reasonable to retire early on a little bit less? And for us, it is reasonable to do that. So if it's reasonable for us to retire earlier, if it makes us happier, and we know that it will. So I love that message, deciding when enough is enough. And so often we attain a goal and then we move that goalpost. And that's true for someone who's struggling to save money and someone who has millions, even billions of dollars. They keep moving the goalpost to try to earn more. And then the third lesson that we learned from this book is using money helps us to gain control over our time. And we really think that's powerful. Because to us, our time is more valuable than money. So we are working hard to save and be frugal and make decisions that are going to help us have enough that we know that we can live comfortably, and we'll buy back that time. This book really helped me have a mind shift about the possibility of early retirement. We used to think that early retirement was about having like that perfect investment strategy plan, having the perfect amount for your pension or your 401k, or having the perfect amount in your bank account. But what Housel taught in his book is to really think about and understanding what truly is valuable to us and aligning our money with those values. So the book really gave us permission to prioritize our freedom and our experiences over maximizing every dollar. Book number 2 that I want to share with you is also one of my very favorites. I literally recommend it to anybody I talk to when the subject of any sort of change they're trying to make in their life or habit they're trying to form comes up. And that book is Atomic Habits by James Clear. In this book, we learn that early retirement isn't just about saving money, it's about building habits that make it possible. And so diving into Atomic Habits really gets to the foundation of how we as humans form habits and kind of habit hacks that we can utilize to help understand how our brains work and use that to help us reach the goals that we're trying to achieve. And Clear's framework showed us how small changes compound into massive results. So um, he talks about just tiny little choices every single day compounds into big changes in our life, but it takes time. It's not one big change and then all of a sudden, bam, you're retired. It's all the small changes that we've been able to put in place through understanding atomic habits. So, some key lessons that we learned from this book. So, number 1 is you really don't have to rise to the level of your goals, but you fall to the level of the systems you put in place. So, really understanding systems and how those can be put in place into your life to help make attaining those goals achievable. For example, we stopped obsessing over retirement numbers and focused on building systems. So, automatic savings, automatic investment. Before we even see it from our paycheck, it goes into our savings and into our deferred compensation, our investment plans. And then we also automized our expenses and expense tracking so we could really make sure that we know where all of our money's going and we're using the money the way that's going to give us the future that we want and the life that we want to live right now as well. And one of my favorite lessons learned from James Clear's book is the 1% rule. And the 1% rule says that small, consistent improvements in your life can compound and make dramatic changes over time. And it's so true when you do the math on 1%, if you get 1% better every day at whatever the task might be, it's exponential, right? And you're going to really be able to make a difference over time. And I think that is the power. So every day I tell myself I'm going to try to get 1% better at whatever the task might be. So learn something new, make the quality of something a little bit better, save 1% more each day. All of those have the power to make atomic change in your life. And that's where the title of the book came, of course, is those atomic tiny changes can build into wonderful habits that can be super impactful in your life. And the third lesson that I pulled away from James Clear's book is identity-based habits. And so this is really interesting and something you should explore, but it's basically saying that you need to shift your mindset into, instead of saying, oh, we're trying to save to retire early, or we are trying to make it happen where we're going to retire early. We don't say that. Instead, we have the identity of like, we are early retirees. We're pre-early retirees. So we are going to retire early. And having that mindset helps you to make those decisions. Like, we are the type of people who are going to retire early. And so every day that we tell that, we have that identity about ourselves. It helps us to make those decisions that help us actually achieve that goal. So the people who identify with wanting to retire early and be financially free, you're not likely to go in and spend extravagantly on random things, right? So having that identity-based habit is really a powerful lesson learned from his work. So our practical application of atomic habits are, number 1, we automated our savings and investments, so we don't have to rely on willpower. It just happens. So the more that you can set up habits that are automatic are very easy for you to do, have that the least amount of resistance to things that you're wanting to incorporate, the better, and the easier it is for you to make those a habit in your life. And then, tracking our savings wins to get that momentum to keep going. So we're super excited about our journey. And then we designed our environment to make it easy to not overspend. So we have, frugal choices that we make, and put those systems in place so that it's easy for us to save money. So, for example, when we looked at our expenses and laid those all out, we saw that we were spending quite a bit of money on eating out. So we're like, yes, we want to be able to enjoy eating out occasionally, but do we want that to keep us working for another 2 years just to go eat out all the time? And we don't. So what we do is we make it easy for us to cook at home by, weekly menu planning. We have our shopping on the weekend with all the ingredients for all the awesome meals that we want to prepare during the week. And we have those groceries right here ready to go. So it makes it easy. Hey, it's already here. We already know the plan for what we want to cook. And it makes the temptation to just go out and grab something to eat a lot less likely to fall into that temptation. So things of that nature you can learn from this book. So this book helped us to realize that early retirement really is in every decision, every little small decision that we make every day, all those small decisions, all those small choices that we make are really helping to get us to our goal. And we're really excited about this journey and recommend this book. This book can help not only with thinking about retiring early, but any sort of change you want to make in your life or an improvement that you want to make. It's really fascinating to get to down into the psychology of habits and how we can use the knowledge about habits to really help us, and it can be used in our favor instead of like just letting our habits take over for us. The third book that I want to share with you is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. This is another fantastic book that really helped build our framework to early retirement, and I recommend you have a read of this book. He also has a book, Money for Couples, as well. That is also very helpful. But in this book, Sethi really cuts through the fear mongering and shame that's associated with money, and he really talks about, we all have a money story, and the way that we think about and treat money kind of falls back on that story that we have about ourselves. And so his philosophy is to really understand what your rich life is. And when you figure that out, to spend extravagantly on the things that you love and to cut back mercilessly on the things that aren't important to you. And I think this is just a great mindset to have, because a lot of times when you're on your path to try to retire early, you can cut back, and it's very frugal living, and it can be not so much fun, right? So what I love about his work and his mindset is that yes, you can save and have that financial independence, but you can also live a rich life every single day. And when you understand what your money dials are, he talks about that in his book, then you can adjust those. So you can turn the dial up on the things that you love. So for example, John and I love traveling. We love to go on hikes. We love spending time with our family. We love experiences. So we spend money on those things. The other things that are not so important to us are luxury items, fancy cars, fancy clothes, designer clothes, those type of things that aren't meaningful to us. And so we turn those way down. Right? It helps to balance it out so you can live your rich life every single day and work towards that financial freedom in the future as well. A key lesson that we learned and applied in our own lives from Ramit's book is to stop trying to be perfect. Just get started, and you can optimize later. So we stop that paralysis by analysis, right? I can get caught up in that because I'm a thinker. I like to think things through a lot, and start taking action. And so I really think that's powerful. Just take a step. It might be imperfect. It's not going to be the best quality the first time around, but if you go back to James Clear's book on Atomic Habits, just try to get better every single day. So go do it, start working on it, And then you can optimize as you go and try to get better every day in small steps, so it's not so overwhelming. So I think people can think, oh, it's just too much to try to get this all planned out. And so they just don't. They just don't start planning, and they don't look into their finances, and they don't see what's possible because it's overwhelming to them. And so I love Ramit Sethi's idea of just like get started, do small steps, and get going with it. And again, the concept that he talks about in his book, having a rich life, is so powerful. So, Ramit asks, what does your rich life look? And I think that's so key, that everybody's rich life is going to be different. We want to help you find your authentic retirement plan. So what John and I are doing is great for us, and you might get some inspiration from it too, but we know that every single person is unique and has different values and different things that they want to spend their time and money on. So we just want to encourage you to explore that and really continue to figure that out, because once you do, when you decide, just sit down and write down the things that make you happy. And you'll find that the majority of them are probably people and experiences rather than items. And that's true for John and I. And we really value each other, and we value our time spent together and with family. And we like to do the hiking and explore new places. Those things are a part of our rich life. And once you figure that out for yourself, then you can make plans to try to make that happen for you today and even bigger in the future. Another great lesson from this book is Ramit Sethi's conscious spending plan. So dive into this. This is really impactful and helps you to know where your funds are going and be really conscious about where your money's going every day, and is it going to fund what's valuable to you and your future. So I encourage you to dive into his conscious spending plan. It's fantastic. And just know that we're not depriving ourselves every day. Yes, we are frugal on budget. Some people might call me a little cheap, but I like to be thrifty, and I like to try to make my money go to the things that I find super valuable. So we don't deprive ourselves. We spend freely on the travel and experiences while we cut back ruthlessly, and I mean ruthlessly, on the things that we don't care about. And that's been super helpful to us in our journey. So we've been able to apply these ideas by adjusting our money dials to get them into the place that will help us to reach our goals of retiring by 55. And we stop feeling guilty about spending on those things that we do love, because we don't want to be miserable for the next several years while we're trying to get to that early retirement. We still want to turn our money dials up towards those fun activities that we enjoy doing. So we automate everything, and that helps us in that journey. And Ramit Sethi's book super duper encourages you to automize your payments and your savings. It's really going to help you to reach your goals. So these 3 books really helped us shape our mindset and our framework, and helped us to make the bold decision to retire early. And I hope that you'll read them too, and they can inspire you. So The Psychology of Money really gave us the right mindset about having enough and knowing when enough's enough, and really thinking about what true wealth is. And true wealth to us is our time and experiences. And then Atomic Habits really gives you the systems needed to make those goals and those plans for early retirement inevitable for us. And then the book I Will Teach You to Be Rich gave us the practical tools and permission to enjoy the ride. And we're so excited that you're joining us on our ride. It's not going to be perfect. We're learning every single day. We hope to inspire you by sharing our journey with you and encouraging you to explore what your rich, authentic retirement life will look like. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this helpful at all, please give us a like. Think about subscribing to our channel, and we'd love to hear your comments. And what are some books out there that you love and have been impactful in your life? Thanks so much. Those dials are turned way down, and it helps to balance it out. So you it helps to balance it out. So you and inspire you to live your rich life. And we're so excited to have you and enjoy the ride with us. And we're